Okay, cool. So we're live. Episode 6 or 7, I can't remember. This one is about TikTok, and Rohan's not here today because TikTok is banned in India, but we are joined with Leah. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm Leah. I run a TikTok consulting agency, and I also run a swimwear company called Peachy Keen Swim that has primarily grown through TikTok. So I've been on TikTok for almost 2.5 years now, and it has definitely changed my business and changed my life. So I'm excited to talk about it.
That's awesome. So you've been on for like 2.5 years, which I think is probably, I think I've been on like 2 years, but what was your first thoughts when you first downloaded the app, or why did you download the app?
Yeah, I think I downloaded the app just because I had heard about it, but when I did, I totally saw it as something for high school kids. I definitely downloaded it as a joke. I was a senior in college at the time, and there was a freshman that had just come in that had like 1 million followers on TikTok, and it was just such a crazy concept for us. Even though we were only like 3 years apart, we were like, what even is this app? What do you mean this guy is making money from it? But it was kind of a talk of the town, and I got to know him a little bit because we were in the same major. So I was like, all right, let me download this and see what it is. But I totally didn't take it seriously really until the pandemic started and everyone was looking for something to do with their time. And that's when I realized, okay, there's something to this. There's a big audience here.
Did you ask him for a shout out?
I didn't. But you know what? I should have, because at the time I was like, why would I want to shout out on TikTok? There's only middle schoolers on here. I totally wasn't taking it seriously.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Gary Vee has been talking about it since it was Musical.ly, and I was the same thing. I was like, I don't know. Because it started off with people like lip syncing to music and stuff, right? And then it evolved into what it is now, which is like this juggernaut. I mean, it's the SEO features and that kind of stuff is crazy for me, but we can talk about all the features and stuff in a little while. So it's 2.5 years ago, you've downloaded the app, and you're like, what is this? Did you get hooked right away? Or, how did you then go, okay, this is good for business?
Yeah, so there was definitely a learning curve, and it was really just an experiment. It wasn't something that our mindset was, oh, this is going to change our business. It was just, the pandemic started March of 2020, and we had launched our swimwear company the summer of 2019. So we had like a few months of being in business, and we also launched with a Kickstarter, did a bunch of pre-orders. So we got the majority of our inventory in like the beginning of March 2020. So we were sitting on all of this inventory. There's a pandemic. Our primary goal was to grow through boutiques and retail and, wholesaling. And then every boutique shut down overnight, and everyone that we had built a relationship was just like, sorry, we're canceling this order, whatever. So we were freaking out. And I was like, man, this is probably it. But damn,
we have a lot of stock.
Yeah, we have a lot of stock. We're probably going to have to shut down. So I was totally accepting defeat just because at that time it felt like the world was ending. So I was like, okay, this is crazy. But then, we were hearing more about TikTok and people downloading it out of, boredom with the pandemic. And my mindset was, hey, if we can somehow stay afloat throughout this next year, let's just really try to build a community this summer, expect no sales, and then next summer we'll come back strong with a big community. So that was just the whole goal, was really community building and seeing if we could, somehow continue to grow this brand, but totally expecting no sales. And then I think because a lot of businesses weren't on it at all yet, and to be honest, so many businesses still aren't on it or doing it effectively, that so many of our videos ended up going viral really quickly, especially because back then things were newer, the algorithm was kind of pumping things out a bit more. But we
Yeah.
were just having these random videos that took us no time to make. Looking back, like the quality is so bad, but we'd like post a video and make like $2,000 and get 100,000 views. We're like, what is this platform? This is crazy, because we were totally just like throwing this up here as a test. And that's when we started to realize, okay, this thing is actually really serious. Like, we need to like stay consistent with this and make, a content schedule and try to have some type of strategy. And yeah, over that next year, we ended up growing to over 50,000 followers, and it totally saved our business, because I completely thought that we were going to have to go out of business. And it really, really saved us. So as much as it still gives me headaches because the algorithm is insane, but I have to be so grateful for it.
Yeah. I mean, so like now that everything's back up and running, is TikTok still the main driver of your business, or has it like faded a little bit?
Yeah, it really is still a significant part of our business. As we're moving into this next year, we do want to start reaching out and being more of like an in-person thing, because with swimwear, people really want to try it on. So we are focusing this next year on going back into wholesaling to boutiques and being in retail stores, because it's a bit more consistent. TikTok is still amazing, but it is pretty hard to predict your results when we, mostly do organic, and you can have an amazing viral video and make $10,000 from a video, and it's the best day ever. And then the next 3 weeks, it's crickets. So, we're trying to have it be just one part of our strategy and like revenue stream. But it has opened up a lot of doors for us, and even connected us with some boutiques and people who ended up placing larger orders, but found us from TikTok. So it definitely is still awesome. Like one of the strongest parts of our business.
I think it's like, now that they have shopping features and that kind of stuff, it's way easier. And the more people because TikTok's not peaked yet, right? A lot of social platforms peak and then they kind of dwindle. But touch wood, we're still seeing TikTok is on the up. Like it's at 30 million daily active users, I think, which is like 1 billion every month. So it's one of the biggest platforms. But when you first put that piece of content up, I think you said it was like 100,000 views and $2,000 in sales. Was that just back in the day when it was simple and you just had like the one link in your bio and people would watch it, click through? Was it as simple as that? And what was the piece of content you put
up? It was definitely as simple as that. Like, when I tell you there was no strategy behind this, or, no optimization, totally, just scrappy. But it was just a video that we had taken at a photo shoot that we had done a few months before of a model just wearing it. And we just wrote like, this swimwear is sustainable. This swimwear is size inclusive, like all of our benefits of our brand. But it's funny because that totally would not go viral now. But, it was the most basic thing. And for whatever reason, it worked. I think, a big seller for us is our swimwear brand is size inclusive and really tries to like represent women and all different body types and a lot of plus size women. And, the biggest comments we get is like, wow, we never see this. Like, this is crazy. And so I think just having some different representation that people don't typically see in swimwear advertising was enough to get people to comment. And then once the comments started rolling in, that really tends to be when our videos do well. So I think there was a little bit of the platform being so new that it was kind of easier to stand out and be unique.
That's why we see like people like Andrew Tate, who I think has just been banned from all the platforms, but that's why we see them have such a meteoric growth, because like engagement isn't just liking or positive comments. If someone has a negative viewpoint and then they're disagreeing with the video and that creates an argument in the comment sections, that's really good for the algorithm. And I think a lot of people play a little bit too safe maybe with some of their advertising. And Whereas sometimes a little bit of controversy can be, I'm not condoning Andrew Tate at all, but a little bit of controversy or something that's not just the norm, which is sort of what you're saying, like it's, you're doing it differently to other brands. It can create conversations which feed the algorithm massively.
100%. Yeah, I always try to touch on controversy with myself and like with my clients and our own strategy, because all of the videos that have gone viral for us, for better or for worse, it is a lot of fighting in the comments. I think, for us, because we are like trying to be body positive and trying to be sustainable, both of those topics can be pretty touchy and people have very strong opinions about it. And most of our viral videos have been people fighting about that. And it's really interesting. I mean, it's a great like tactic to use it as long as, you and the content creators that might be in the videos have thick enough skin to handle those comments, which is a skill in itself. And it can be amazing, but it also is kind of concerning for our society because, like you mentioned with Andrew Tate and all of these people that, maybe know that controversy does the best and, maybe they just say whatever to get a platform, or maybe they really believe it, who knows, but either way, that's kind of a complaint my clients have been having lately, and something I've struggled with myself is they're like, I feel like the videos that perform the best is me being super negative and critical about things just because that's what gets people engaged enough to comment. And I don't know if I really want to be known as the person that's like always trying to pick a fight with something.
Yeah. So, I mean, the TikTok algorithm is so crazy because, so I have a couple of different accounts. I have like my personal account, the one for my agency. And when I was training the TikTok algorithm to serve me marketing content for the agency one, I had to go through loads of stuff that was just appearing on the For You page. And you're so right that like so many of the comments are either negative, and it's the same with YouTube, but TikTok is like one of the quickest algorithms to learn your preferences. And I think that's why the echo chambers and that kind of stuff get created, because it's so quick to learn that you almost don't even see the other bits of content, or you have like a day. And then it learns so quickly that it starts serving you, whatever it is you like. And if it is that negative content, or they know that you're going to bite down on a piece of negative content, I think it's one of the most dangerous algorithms in terms of that kind of echo chamber mentality.
It 100% is. And even another thing that kind of concerns me about it just is what I think it's doing to our attention spans. Like, I know for myself, I do this for a living, but I definitely struggle with feeling like addicted to the platform because it's designed to be addicted. And, I have all of these app blockers on my phone to prevent me from going on it because it feels amazing when you have a viral video, but then it feels not amazing when you don't. And having it, be attached to your career and be attached to your income stream, it can be a lot. And it can be a positive place, but it can also really be a negative place. And, I have noticed for myself how easy it is to like get into like, doom scrolling or a scroll hole, whatever you want to call it. And I do think that these short videos really are affecting our attention spans. And I even saw a video yesterday that really freaked me out of these college kids talking about going back to school, how hard it is to read articles because they spent all summer watching 7-second videos. And it's like, man, that's not good.
Yeah. Also, it's everything. Like, it's TikTok, but it's also, I was on the Netflix app on my phone the other day, and they also now have like a TikTok feed of almost like trailers from some of their content. And because everything is available on demand, and you can like watch a whole series straight up, you can just scroll through as many TikTok videos as you want. There's no like delayed gratification there either. So it's like a double whammy of not only do you have this bite-sized content that's super easy to consume and then on to the next one, but you also have everything as you don't have to wait for it. You can just have as much as you want on tap all the time.
It's really crazy. And it's interesting that we're the first generation that is, living like this and experiencing these platforms. And so we're kind of guinea pigs. Like, we don't know what this is going to do to us long term.
So, I mean, one thing that I do on TikTok, first of all, I am really bad for swiping my, like, refreshing on my own page to see if I have a video that's going viral. I'm like, how quickly are the views moving?
100%.
So that's my bad trait. But my other one is I watch a lot of the TikTok lives on there. And it's partly because I get distracted and watch them. But it's partly as well because I'm like, I see the craziest videos. Like, there's one guy who just plays a UFC PlayStation game, and he'll like play people in the comments, and he gets hundreds of thousands of views. There's another person that just plays like pool or snooker, and then there's people that also are selling things on there, like direct sales. So there's this guy, and he's a really big guy. You'll know him if you've seen him. And he sells like e-scooters and stuff, but through TikTok. And I don't know how he's doing it. I don't know if he has like the shop linked. I guess he has the shop linked or something like that. But just the amount of different uses you can find for one app is why I think it's such a powerful app.
Totally. That's crazy. I haven't seen that guy, but it's so interesting thinking it's like an auction on there, people are just buying stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he just like, it's, people used to do Amazon FBA or something. And I guess he's now just getting the stuff to ship to him and then just selling it directly to his TikTok following, cutting out the middleman. But let's talk about TikTok Shop. Well, first of all, do you do lives? Do you do any for either your agency or for the swimwear?
I have in the past. It's not something I do consistently, although I'm sure it's something I should. But it's something that I always recommend, like for my clients, as a way to, get connected with your audience and also just get a boost. I think the algorithm really likes, people using all the features and kind of can give your other videos a boost. But it's not something I've ever done and been that QVC person selling my swimsuits, although I don't know, maybe that's something I should try.
I think it'd be cool, like for a BTS on a shoot or something. But one of the weird things I think is that you can also tip people and stuff. You've probably definitely seen these ones. It's like 24-hour no sleep challenge or something like that, and then every time someone tips is like a different sound. But if you're a business and you're doing, let's say you are doing a QVC style thing, you're making the money from that, but you could also be tipped if it's an entertaining thing. Like I've seen people packaging up sweets or jewelry or that kind of stuff. And if you can generate money passively whilst you're selling stuff, like that's great. Plus you're building followers because TikTok is trying to push the live content as well. That's
it's so
crazy.
Fascinating. All right, this is inspiring me to try it again because we've when we've done it in the past, it's more been just to try it, just to do it, but not really as like a real strategy to bring some sales in. So I'll keep you updated on that. I definitely need to get back on that train.
Okay, cool. Part 2 coming soon. So what would you recommend then for someone that's just, because we have a lot of people that listen and they're in a startup or they're just launching a new brand. TikTok's obviously changed in the last 2.5 years. There's now like shopping integration so you can purchase on the app and all that kind of stuff. But what's a good strategy for someone that's just starting out?
I think when you're starting, one of the biggest things that's important to note is that creating content is maybe harder than some people give it credit for. It can take a lot of time and it can be a while before your first video goes really well. So it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And I think it's really important to create systems that allow you to avoid burnout. So for someone getting started, just some like quick tips I would recommend is really taking a look at like who you are, the type of content you want to make, and seeing what angle you can use to make it different. There's a ton of business creators out there. There's a ton of fashion creators out there. But I think when we kind of blend different topics, it can be really interesting. Like I follow some people that give business advice, but through the lens of mental health and avoiding burnout. And that's so interesting to me and not something I see every day. So, just understanding that it is a platform that is, having more users by the day, and you do have to find a new way to stand out, and really focusing on just getting those first 20 or 30 videos out there, not focusing on it being perfect, just focusing on the volume and speaking to your audience's pain points. And then at the end of that initial sprint, you have so much information on what content resonated with people the most, what pain points resonated with your customers the most, and have a bit of an idea of what interesting angle you can contribute. But yeah, the biggest thing is to keep going. It can be, overnight success and then crickets the next day. So it's a long game, and really taking note of that burnout piece is super important.
Amazing. And yeah, in the 2 or 3 accounts that I've set up, it's always the second, sometimes it's the first, normally it's the second or third video that will get a couple of thousand views, and you're like, oh my God. And then the video after is just back to 25, and you're like, oh, great.
Totally.
But okay, I agree that you should just commit to 20 or 30 videos. And even if that's 2 a week, and that's obviously low, but just get whatever you can out there. When you're making those 20, 30 videos, TikTok obviously has trends and sounds and all that kind of stuff. So how much should people be leaning into that? And should they be using trending sounds, or should they just be using their own stuff?
So the trending sounds can be great as a way to get a boost from the algorithm, but it can be hard to really set yourself apart through a trending sound and to really get people to want to follow you. Of course, there's ways to do it, but from my experience with trending sounds, it can lead you to make content that might be a bit more general and might tell people a little bit less about who you are, and a little bit more of just kind of a relatable soundbite. So I think it's important to do it. Also, let's face it, it's so much easier to just lip sync a trending sound than it is to edit together a video with a lot of different clips. So I think it's good for consistency, good to get a boost in views, but I really recommend and try to focus on creating original content where, sure, you can use a trending sound in the background, but you're telling a story with a voiceover or directly to the camera, and people are really getting an understanding of who you are. And some things that I try to do to make this a bit easier for myself so that I'm not becoming a full-time filmmaker and shooting every piece of my life is I have a little just a B-roll library on my phone of me doing my daily routines of making my coffee, making my bed, whatever. And I like posting a lot of day in the lifestyle content, and I've made it into a little series called Day in the Life of an Entrepreneur Who Hates Hustle Culture. And that's kind of my angle because we all have been flooded with entrepreneurs who are all about that hustle culture, which is totally fine. But I feel like I'm trying to kind of bring my unique angle and set myself apart with that. But the way that I've made it sustainable for me is to have this pre-recorded content of clips of the day in my life. So the days that I do want to post or I feel inspired to share something, I can attach it to this series and have the content already there. And I just need to write a script.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's one of the if you imagine that the trends and the music, the sound bites of the trending sound, are the top of funnel, and then you have that content and that kind of stuff as you have those videos then as the actual content, what people stay for. I think that's probably quite a good way to look at it. Otherwise, if you're just doing the trending sounds, there's no reason for people to stay and
that's
to
such a
follow
good way
stuff.
to look at it. And that also kind of reminds me of another point I always try to tell my clients. Because the algorithm is so unpredictable, you aren't necessarily able to rely on viral videos consistently. So when they happen, consider it top of funnel, consider it an awesome day. But it is those videos that may not have the most amazing views, but are really the ones that are going to build community and be bottom of funnel. And those can be even more powerful than a viral video to actually getting sales.
Amazing. So then do you have any tips for if someone's expecting their first viral video, or they're working their way to it, or they have the first 20 clips ready to go, what's the best ways to get people to actually stay around, to follow you, to engage in your content?
Yeah, I think it, just kind of like going back to the marketing basics, I think it really is just showing that you understand the customer or the viewer, and feel like you get them. I think that's really the biggest thing. And like, I always encourage like starting a video with like a pain point or like a controversial pain point that the viewer has experienced. Like, one of our videos that went really well was talking about like, why does online shopping, like, why does everything look so good online and then it gets to you in person and it's completely different, things like that. But then, you can kind of hook them in with those pain points. And then I try to end my videos of like, I make content about body positivity or swimwear or whatever, like every single day. So it's not a direct call to action. It's not a direct follow me, which I think isn't as effective on TikTok as it might be on some other platforms. But it's just a reminder, like, I make this content every day. So it's that subtle, you should follow me. And also, kind of with like the Gary Vee, like jab, jab, right hook, like not every video is directly about our swimwear and encouraging people to buy. A lot of it is just about like the bigger picture problems in the industry or just, other pain points that our audience might be having. So I think just having that holistic approach is really important to get people engaged, not just when they want to buy from you.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart way of doing it, because when there's a really strong call to action, like follow me, internally I'm just like, no,
I know,
I'm not,
right?
I'm not going to do that. But yeah, saying that you put new content out daily or weekly or whatever is a really good way to do it. So I think that's a great tip. So what are your biggest successes then? Like, whether that's, like most amount of views or biggest day of sales, or like what's the best outcome you've had from TikTok?
We had one video last April go viral and it got, I think it might be at like 900,000 views now. And that really blew up. And in the course of 2 or 3 days, we made $10,000 from that video. And that was like crazy and amazing. So I think that was a great day for us. And also the comments on that video were really positive, and it was a lot of really good feedback on our brand, which is always what you want to hear as an entrepreneur, that the idea you came up with is actually resonating with people. And people really were organically sharing it, which was great. So that was definitely a highlight. But again, it's like we had that amazing video next month, like so far from that number. So it's such a roller coaster. But focusing on capturing emails, whatever it is, to use that viral hit to sustain you long term. That was a pretty great day.
I think that's one of the things as well. TikTok has this like tiny little gene of LinkedIn, where every so often I'll be scrolling through my feed and then I'll watch a video and I'll be like, oh, that's great. I'll go to the creator's profile, and the just watch video is like 4 pages down, and it was actually created a month ago. And I'm like, no other platform apart from maybe LinkedIn would be serving content that's a month old. But the algorithm was just like, we think you're going to like this, and they were right. So you still get those viral videos just paying dividends.
Yeah. And then, it's also a good reminder to like not delete any of your old videos just because they didn't do well, because you never know if it's going to, if it might take a month or something. The algorithm's always changing, and, you really never know.
How do you feel about remixing your content? So like if you have like a 1 or 2 minute long video and then chopping it up, is that good on TikTok, or do they kind of mark it as like, it's copy and paste?
I think as long as you are really able to format it so that it feels natural to the TikTok audience, I think that's totally fine. I definitely have seen some videos go viral that you can tell it's from a YouTube video or something like that. But if it's entertaining enough, I think it doesn't really matter what the vehicle is. But the only thing to note is making a good script on YouTube is not going to be the same as making a good script on TikTok. So you really do have to cut that down so that it has like a really engaging hook. It's short and sweet and punchy. But as long as those components are there, I wouldn't be afraid to try like remixing old content.
Yeah, agree. I remember reading something, I can't remember the exact number, but it was basically that people on TikTok, when you're serving them ads, they have the lowest attention span of any other app. So you have like 2 seconds basically to try and get their attention. Otherwise they're gone. Because TikTok make it really easy to skip ads as well, which I think is great. But yeah, I think with that native content, like, you know, that I run TikTok ads, and clients will occasionally say to us like, why do TikTok ads perform better than Facebook or Instagram? And I'm like, it's not necessarily that they do. It's just that 9 times out of 10, when you're making content for TikTok, it involves a person that's speaking directly to the audience in like a lot of the UGC that we'll use doesn't look super high quality, like in a studio. It'll be someone in their apartment. And then you just hit the trifecta of trustworthy ads. And that's why it performs so well, because the ads are so much better and speak to the actual person rather than just, you know, a carousel of static images 100%. On Instagram. And I think if you can bring that to your organic content as well, and like you've said, you know, speak to your audience. If you work out, I think it's funny that people think like this is an app for high school kids, but it probably takes more thought than some of the other apps. Because you have to put that thought into it about what your audience is and then create your content around that. Yeah, that's so
true. And I think people really like that style of video that feels like you're just talking to a friend and it's super casual and laid back. And while that might sound easy to make, I think when you're coming from like a business perspective, it can be really hard to take yourself out of the, you know, business mindset of wanting to sell every single feature and, you know, have everything perfectly crafted to really just casually talk about it like a friend and then somehow have an amazing hook and, you know, indirect call to action. So there definitely is a lot that goes into it.
Amazing. And finally, did you see this Irish furniture store that went viral because like their videos were so bad? Well, not so bad. They were just like, I'll put the link in the description of this, but celebrities and like influencers started like basically retweeting or reposting their videos or green screening with them and being like, you have to go and look at this account. And overnight they went to like a couple of 100,000 followers. And it's crazy that like other people in their position probably would have been like, our content's not good enough, we're not going to put it live. And actually that's what drove them to success.
Wow. Yeah,
I'll send you the link.
Check that out. But that's so true, and that also kind of goes back to like what I mentioned about having the thick skin. Like TikTok can be brutal, and I'm sure that the people who were talking about it, their intention wasn't to make this furniture brand an overnight success. Like it probably was to like laugh at it a little bit, but if you can like build up that thick skin and let that benefit you, it can benefit you, you know?
Yeah. It's called New Town Odds Department Store. I think that's what it's called. But I'll put the link in the description. We're coming up to time. So, I mean, is there anything else you wanted to talk about or teach everyone about?
I mean, I feel like we covered a lot. Just some new things coming down the line for me. I have a new TikTok course dropping at the end of September that is totally focused on busy entrepreneurs who have less than 5 hours a week to contribute to TikTok and want to be able to grow without burning out, because that's a pain point I have and a lot of my friends have. But you know, really encompasses like a lot of the tips that I mentioned today. But, you know, for anyone listening who's thinking about starting it, my biggest advice is like, just start. Who cares if your videos are not good right now? No one's first few videos are good, but just get posted and see what happens.
Amazing. And where can people reach out to you on TikTok or LinkedIn?
So my website is consciouslymedia.com. You can reach out to me through there. My TikTok, I have one called planet_Leah. That's my personal account. And then my swimwear account is Peachy Keen Swim. And you can find my swimwear at peachyqueenswim.com, and hopefully I will be on your For You page. So I will find you.
Amazing. We'll put those links in the description as well. But thanks so much for coming on. I think it's been awesome.
Me. Great.
Awesome. Speak soon. Bye-bye.